you guys, Brooke here, and I am so excited about today's video. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got so excited something went in my eye. I have been so excited to finally go ahead and do this video because today is all about the movie Titanic. It's the best movie on the face of the planet, and I am doing a tag with Destiny Murtaugh. Destiny Murtaugh. I have created this tag with Destiny all about Titanic questions relating around writing, and it's just gonna be the funnest thing ever to go ahead and talk about two of my great loves of the universe, Titanic and writing books. I'm gonna go ahead and put Destiny's info down below so that way you guys can go see her take on this tag. And before I go ahead and dive into these Titanic writing questions, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that way you can go ahead and see lots of writerly videos that I will be posting throughout the rest of the months to come. And another thing before we get started is I want to go ahead and show you guys this thing I've had ever since I was a kid, ever since I had seen the Titanic movie and fell in love with it. I have this Titanic music box. Look, it's Jack and Rose, and they're flying. And then there's, of course, beautiful Leo and just like the wind sweeping through his hair. And then there's Kate, aka Rose. She's looking beautiful as always. I love her so much. And here's the heart of the ocean, you guys. Isn't it cool? It's not as, of course, real like how the one in the movie is, but it's really cute. And let's turn on the music. Okay, I don't know what to do as the music's going. I'm ready to do the tag now and the music is still going. I think I turned it one too many times. But anyway, let's go ahead and start this tag. Question number 1. Rose, describe what makes your main protagonist internally strong. So real quick disclaimer of my story so that way you guys kind of have a heads up on things. My story takes place in 1920s New Orleans, and it's going to be a supernatural book. And since it is the 1920s, things were a lot different for people of color back then. And my main protagonist is a black girl, and she actually works for a family that she is just always, ever since she could remember, her family has always worked under them. And so she's a servant to them, she's a cook. Her character has to really undergo lots of internal struggles with her morals and like what all's going on just at the very first chapter even. And since she is a lot more reserved and kind of more of a pushover type of character at the beginning of the book, she really has to overcome lots of obstacles in her life and just learn to not be a pushover and learn to step up for herself. I'm still, of course, writing the story, but she is just going to be such a triumphant character arc to go ahead and write for. Number 2, it's been 84 years. I'm sure you guys have seen this meme like all over the place of like old Rose saying, "It's been 84 years." Well, that wasn't what she sounds like, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna start this one over real quick. Number 2, it's been 84 years. Does your book have flashback scenes? And if not, what are some examples you reference from your character's past? At this moment, I haven't written any chapters in my book where it's like at the beginning of the chapter where it's labeled like 10 years ago or 2 years ago. I haven't done anything like that, but I definitely reference lots of things that had happened to the character like in their childhood. I do lots of references on why certain characters are the way that they are from things that had happened in their past. So not so much flashback scenes, but more so just like, this is why this character is like this today. Number 3, Jack. What makes your main love interest so lovable? Leo DiCaprio is so ultra lovable, especially in Titanic as Jack Dawson. OMG, he was like my 90s crush. Oh, wow. At this moment of writing my love interest in my story, he doesn't have a name yet. I mean, he kind of does. Right now I'm calling him Hank, but I don't think that's gonna be his name once the final book is done. I just love Hank. He is the love interest for Jessalyn. He is a black man in a band in New Orleans and playing around certain speakeasies around town. Speakeasies or houses, whatever. He's just awesome at what he does, and which is playing his horn. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. An actual horn, an instrument. And he doesn't care what people think about him. He's a little bit more on the stockier side, and he is all about it. He loves to eat. He is all about snacking and having some good delicious food, and you know there's some good and delicious food in New Orleans. And he wins Jessalyn's heart through the act of music and just his overall fun and spunky personality. He is just so much fun to write for, and I just adore him. Number 4, I'm the king of the wild! What line or scene from your book could people easily quote or talk about right after reading it? This was a hard question to go ahead and write because I really liked the question itself, but at the same time, I don't want to give any major things away from my book because there's a lot of just like crazy things that are going to go down later that I just don't want to like spoil. I'll just say this, lots of dark things happen. There's lots of just like things about death and dying and just lots of spooky things that happen as well. And as for like a quote or a saying from my book, I don't really have stuff narrowed down of what I'd like to say because I am still in the first draft of writing, and so things are going to be changing. So even if I did give you guys kind of a quote, it probably would change. Number 5, my heart will go on. Do you have a forbidden romance in your book? And if it's not forbidden, what obstacles must the characters overcome to stay together? I'm gonna go ahead and say Corinne and Leo, and yes, I do have a Leo in my book. I didn't realize that I would be doing a tag like this where I would be talking about Leo from my book and also someone who had starred in a movie starring Leo DiCaprio. So Leo and Corinne, they are my forbidden romance because Corinne is a vampire and Leo is a human. Leo is actually one of the family members that Jessalyn works for. A vampire and a human in love together? Oh man, you can for sure suspect that there's gonna be some rocky territory for them in the future. Number 6, the heart of the ocean. Do you have a MacGuffin in your story? And for you guys that don't know what a MacGuffin is, it's pretty much an object or an item that people in your story want or care about. So for example, in Titanic, there was the heart of the ocean, which was the necklace that Rose had. And I mean, throughout the entire movie, you reference back to Bill Paxton's character from the future, who is just searching and looking for the necklace. And the necklace is also kind of a big thing that takes place in the past as well. So the MacGuffin in my story is actually not an object, it's actually an animal. And it's an owl. And it has a major role to play in my book. But I'm not wanting to dive into other details other than that. Just know that an owl is a major thing that happens in my story. I'm so excited for this one. Number 7, paint me like one of your French girls. Is there a scene in your book that you'll be embarrassed by when your family reads it? Oh my gosh, there's definitely a lot of things that go on in my book that I will be definitely embarrassed by whenever my family chooses to read it. So far I haven't written any sex scenes, but I know that there will be some groping later on. This sounds so weird. I know that I'm going to be dancing around scenes relating with sex, and so just that alone, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my parents read this and they're just gonna be like so disgusted that knowing that I wrote stuff like this. Number 8, the iceberg. How do you spot plot holes or icebergs in your story, and what steps do you take to fix them? I do know that whenever I finish my first draft that I am going to go ahead and read through the book without editing whatsoever, so that way I can go ahead and line out what all is taking place in my book. I'm gonna make note of plot holes, I'm gonna make note of things that just don't make sense and that need clarification. Rereading the book without editing one round will be, in my opinion, the best way to spot plot holes, because then you can go ahead and reread the thing and write out in each chapter what all happens, and then that way you can just see if anything is just looking out of place or if anything is just sticking out at me, just to see if there's something that definitely needs adjusting. Number 9, the sinking of the ship. Characters from your book that could be shipped with other book characters. One of the people in the family that my main character Jessalyn works for, her name is Hattie, and she's a definite flapper girl, and I think she would make a really great match with Thorn from the Lunar Chronicles. Hattie's love interest is very different from Thorn, but I just can imagine them just like totally hitting it off. Thorn is just very like cocky in an adorable sort of way. He just has this adorable way I just spat at the camera. He just has this adorable way about living life to the fullest and doesn't like to take things too seriously in life, and I feel like that would just be a really good match for Hattie. I can imagine Hattie taking Thorn out on the town into the French Quarter, just living it up, and then after they were done, then Thorn will take her into his spaceship and then they will go sailing through the stars and in love. And question number 10, I'll never let go. Is there a character you've written that would be the hardest for you to kill off if you ever had to? I'm gonna go ahead and say Hattie again for this one because I just feel like she is the most fun to write about. I can always just write her personality so well, in my opinion. She is just so much fun to write, and I adore coming up with a dialogue for her. She just always has a different way of speaking, I feel like, than the rest of the people in her family and in the book in general. I think she's the character in my book who is most headstrong, but she's by no means cocky about herself, just being confident and independent. If I had to kill her off, it'd be really hard because she just is not like any of my other characters to write for. She is definitely the most fun. But like I said, she will be someone who will be so hard to never let go of. Alright, so that was the Titanic Writing Tag, and oh my gosh, that was just so much fun being able to talk about my favorite movie of all time while also being able to talk about writing and also the book that I'm working on right now. And once again, be sure to go ahead and check out Destiny's video because she had also come up with these questions too. Okay, so let's see who I shall tag next to go ahead and do the Titanic tag. And I'll also be putting links to those girls' channels down below so that way you can go ahead and check them out. But yeah, I've tagged them and I will go ahead and be also tagging any one of you who is also wanting to do the Titanic Writing Tag because you best believe I want to spread the Titanic love on here. And I sure hope that you guys liked this video because I know I had so much fun making it. So if you liked it, feel free to give me a big thumbs up down below and also feel free to subscribe so that way you can see more content like this from me. And y'all should totally go follow me on social media because I am on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all those stuff. I am on it. And thank you all so much for stopping by today, and I will see you next time.